Home base, it's all about the home. Home decor, interior and exterior design, choosing paint colors, picking out rugs, organizing closets, being productive in your home office, and so much more. Let's jump right into today's episode with Southern Inspirations partner, Shepherd Organizing Solutions. Well, hey there, Paige. How are you doing on this Tip Tuesday?
Good morning, Michelle. I'm doing well today.
I'm so excited to be back for another episode. And as always, I know we're going to have a good time and you're going to bring some wonderful tips. And today we are talking about next day prep. And you know, I like that idea. I'm a firm believer in living for today, but I also think with a few little tweaks in planning ahead that our tomorrow can be a little bit easier.
Exactly. You took the words right off my notes. That's so
good.
Today's tip is more of a productivity tip than an organizing tip, but they all go hand in hand. So far on here, we've had an episode talking about preparing your spaces for re-entering them. And we've talked about writing things down. Those were two of our productivity tips. But today's tip is specifically about preparing for the next day. And the things that, we all have lists that are like, oh, I got to do that by the end of this week or by the end of this month. But this tip is for the things that need our more immediate attention. So like you said, to make the most of your time the next day, it's good if you get a head start and you make your to-do list the night before. If you have time, not every day allows for this, but when you can, it helps you not have to wake up in the morning when you're groggy and trying to get all the other things going. If you've already prepared. And also, I think I sleep better at night when I take the time to get it all out of my head and write down what I need to do and make the plans so that the next day can be smoother.
You know, I agree with that because oftentimes if I know that I have a very busy day the next day, but yet I've not taken the time to at least jot down 2 or 3 things, my head just kind of stirs throughout the night thinking about it. So I agree. I think I also get a little bit better sleep when I take just a few seconds to do that.
Yeah, this is very simple. Nothing I'm going to share today is like something new that I invented. It's just a good practice. So
just good reminders, right?
Yes. For me, what it looks like is taking a few minutes towards the end of every day to intentionally look at the next day. And sometimes I do it while dinner's cooking. Sometimes I do it while I'm in line at the bank or waiting for a grocery pickup. Or if I have some time, it doesn't take long, but I just try to use my time wisely and think through the next day. I ask myself, what do I need to have gathered for tomorrow? What do I need to have already loaded into my car? What can I do to save myself a few minutes here and there that add up throughout the whole day? And so then I do it. I try to gather those things before I go to bed. And the things that I can't gather or get ready, prepare for the next day, like if there's stuff in the refrigerator or things that I need to deal with first thing in the morning, I make a small sticky note that's like, okay, on Wednesday, Paige, do these things first in the morning, because I said that I sleep better when I get it out of my head, but also the reality is I don't always remember everything once I go to sleep.
Right. That's exactly. We think we will.
Yes.
Once we make that mental note, we really do believe and we have intentions of remembering. But gosh, oftentimes, particularly if it's just a long list, I have got to write some things down. And I know we've talked about one of the previous episodes, write it down. We went into more depth about that.
Yes. And like I said, it's simple, but the busier your day is, or even if it's nothing new, maybe it's just a bunch of routine things, but you have emotional stress or other things that you're going through or a big decision to make. Sometimes the simple things that need to get done, we don't prepare for them well because our mind and our heart are focused on other things. So the busier your day is going to be, or the more of a stressful situation that you're in, the more important it is to kind of do that quick, I don't know, 5-10 minute survey the night before or the evening before and try to prepare for the next day. It helps. It means that you don't waste as much time in the morning trying to decide what you need to do. And it keeps you from realizing at the last possible second that you don't have what you need. And, I've shared before that Chris and I don't have children, so we're not at that stage yet where we're trying to remember things for ourselves and for our kids. But I have so many friends with young children who hate the morning time. Their kid is groggy and grumpy and they don't want to do anything that they're supposed to do. And then the parents kind of relying on the kid to remember what you're supposed to take to school the next day, but then the parent doesn't know. And it's just stressful. But hopefully these little tips will help. So I have some examples of like practical ways you could implement this, because it kind of just sounds simple, like just figure it out the day before. But okay, so an example, let's say you have a 3rd grade son who has a project due tomorrow. You could, when he finishes the project, go ahead and load it into your car so that the next morning there will be less chaos and scrambling and the opportunity for it to get broken or something left. So that way, that things are a little bit calmer oftentimes in the evening than they are in the morning when you're rushing to get in the car. So little things like that. Or maybe you have multiple returns to make, like you're out running errands. And so a way that you could do this is to think through getting your receipts that go with those items you're returning, taping them to it, sticking it in the bag with it, whatever, and loading it in your car. It's just doing small, simple things to help you save time the next day. Or maybe you are preparing a meal for another family in addition to cooking for your family. Maybe someone's had a baby or a death in the family and you're trying to do something kind for someone else, but you get ready to cook and you realize you don't have all the ingredients. Well, you could have been more prepared had you thought through it the day before, made sure you had the ingredients, you set the meat out to thaw. It's just little things like that, just small things. And especially as school is getting ready to kick back off, I think of parents of school-age children. I think this small, simple tool you could implement would make a big difference in your mornings and in the attitudes that you have when you drop your kids off at school.
Oh, yeah.
So, for that, it could look like thinking through all the things that need to go back in the backpack, or maybe packing a lunch the night before. Just trying to think of little ways you could save time and getting your kids involved in that. If you need to look over your child's homework before they turn it in, if that's something that you help them with, come up with a designated space in your kitchen or your office or wherever that your kid puts their homework when they're done, and you look over it so that you guys set up a routine. Routines will help adults thrive better, but they really help children. No matter what the kid's personality type is, routines are very helpful for us to just kind of get back into the swing of things and for everybody to know everyone else's expectations. So those are just a few things. There's countless ways we could implement it, but it really helps your next day go smoother if you've thought through it and done some things in advance to prepare.
Absolutely. All those tips are so good. And I want to remind everyone that if even after listening to some of these tips or some tips from previous episodes, if you still feel like you need just extra little help, another little push, so to speak, Paige is available to help you in whatever space you need that. If you do need the productivity assistance in becoming more efficiency just in your home or in your home office, she is available to do that, to reorganizing closets and pantries, and all of those things. So you'll see her website scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You can go there and establish a time to chat with her. She can meet with you virtually or in person, really just to address whatever your need is from an organizing and planning perspective. Right, Paige?
Right. And, the world that we are living in right now is just unknown is the only word to describe it.
Right.
And I have a lot of friends who have reached out to me, and even some just clients that I didn't know prior that have just needed some help getting some structure back in their lives. And it takes, 30-minute FaceTime or a Zoom call just for me to listen to your needs and to add some productivity tips in there. I have several friends who are homeschooling their children for the first time this year, and they're like, where do I start?
Yeah.
And, my background is also education. That's my degree. So I kind of feel like I think along those lines too. So if that's where you're at, if you are dreading starting the school year and you could just use some encouragement or some tips on how to make things run smoother, I'd be happy to help with that too.
I love that. Anything else that we want to share before we wrap up today?
Nope.
All right. Well, everyone, Paige and I want to say thank you so much for watching. We appreciate your continued support of Tip Tuesday, a partnership between Southern Inspirations and Shepherd Organizing Solutions. If you haven't already, we invite you to join the Home Base group, Home Base Facebook group, and invite your friends as well. There's lots of content there, additional content that Paige and Southern Inspirations partner Kelly Colettis Designs provide. And y'all, we always like to bring this up in every broadcast, and that is, let us know the type of content you want to see, right, Paige?
Right.
If there's a particular subject or topic that you feel like we should cover, we want to know that, and so be sure and let us know. So with that wraps up today's episode of Tips Tuesday. Be sure also to follow Shepherd Organizing Solutions as well as Southern Inspirations across various social media. We're on Instagram. I upload these videos to YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest. We run the gamut so whichever social media is your favorite, you can probably find us there. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you again. We hope you have an absolute wonderful Tuesday and a good rest of your week. And we'll see you again soon. Bye, y'all.